Good morning. We're in a festive spirit with Tommy Banks, a multi-award-winning chef. He's turned his family's pub, the Black Swan in Yorkshire, into an inspirational restaurant at the heart of his local community with a Michelin star to boot. The amazing Paul A. Young, he's the cream of the crop because he constantly pushes the boundaries. His unique ideas make his shops truly magical and his demonstrations mesmerising. And getting busy with a fizzy this morning, it's Helen McGinn. What a fantastic Saturday Kitchen lineup. Welcome to the show. How are you, everyone? All right?
Very well.
Good. All feeling festive?
Very much.
Good. Right, let's meet today's special guest. She's a major TV star, topping the bill in a massive range of shows on practically every channel, including the BBC's hit crime series Silent Witness. Now, she's currently starring in a huge new BBC drama about the Profumo affair, so please welcome Emilia Fox.
Thank you.
How are you?
How are you?
Nice to see you. Nice to see you.
Hi.
I think we saw each other this time last year, actually.
I think we did.
Around that time.
Yeah.
How was your year?
It was very good, thank you.
Good. Well, thanks for joining us this morning. So the big new drama, it's out tomorrow night.
Yes.
All about the Profumo affair.
Yes.
OK, one of the great British scandals. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Let's see what's on the menu first. Tommy, what have you got for us?
So I'm cooking some lovely scallops. We're going to bake them in the shells so they're really sweet and plump, and serve them, well, obviously with lots of preserved ingredients from my farm. OK. Look forward to that. Paul, what you got? Something chocolatey?
A beautiful white chocolate Bucks Fizz tart, perfect for New Year's Eve, with orange, sparkly wine, white chocolate snowflakes, and white chocolate snowball truffles. OK,
can I just point out that coat? At what other point in the year could you ever wear that coat?
I can't.
That's how I came out. Is it just a Christmas party coat?
It is. I've got the trousers too, but I've left those.
Have you? Is it an actual suit?
It's an actual suit.
Really?
Yeah.
You just weren't there.
I want to see them together.
I don't know what, those trousers shred your legs, so I have to put tights on underneath the trousers.
OK, too much information. Right, Helen.
Yes.
What you got for us?
Not sequin trousers, that's for sure, but I have got some lovely wines to go. A classic match for Tommy's Scallops.
Right.
A gorgeous sweetie with Paul's tarts.
Yeah, OK.
And a guide on fizz later.
OK, look forward to that. Now, Emilia, you know how this show works, the end of the show, heaven and hell.
Yep.
What's your idea of heaven?
Heaven today is going to be risotto.
OK.
And hell is beef, actually, surprisingly. I've never been a great fan of it.
Now, it's kind of like risotto, but also leftovers.
Leftovers, yes. So anything to do with risotto and leftovers, I think I'm going to love.
Right.
But I'm willing to be converted, of course, because you're good at that.
And beef, though?
Yeah.
Why don't you like beef?
I don't know. I think I like white meat. I like fish. I've never been that into red meat.
OK. So if it's heaven, it's going to be a risotto using Christmas leftovers. So I'm going to make a risotto with white wine and turkey stock before stirring in leftover turkey meat, which everyone's got loads of this time of year. Mascarpone, parmesan, lemon and thyme. I'm going to serve with crispy smoked pancetta and tarragon. But if Emilia gets hell, it's going to be her ultimate dreaded dish. It's going to be beef Wellington, which you see a lot of this time of year. It's one of my favourites. I'm going to roast a fillet of beef that's covered in a mushroom pâté. I'm going to wrap it in parma ham and encase it in puff pastry and serve with celeriac puree, a rich beef sauce and a drizzle of parsley oil. Now, we're not live today, so there's no viewer vote, so your fate will be decided at the end of the show, so stay tuned to find out what Emilia will be eating. OK, should we go and do some cooking?
Yeah, I'm voting hell, by the way.
Thanks for that, Tommy.
Is it your vote?
You're just here making friends, aren't you? Yeah, nice.
You can't mess around when it comes to beef Wellington.
OK, so talk us through this.
So, loads of ingredients, but actually a really simple dish. So I wanted to show off a little technique that we use in the restaurant for cooking scallops.
OK.
But it's actually incredibly simple. So we take the scallop shells, clean them up, and you take your scallop, and we literally just bake them in the shells.
OK.
But then take them out and still sort of season them up, serve them, carve them. But it's just a really effective way, because so many people ask about what's a good way to cook a scallop, or any sort of fish, really. But this is incredibly simple. It's just a knob of butter.
So you're not serving it in the shell?
I'm not going to. I'm going to serve it more like a sort of restaurant dish.
So why are you baking it in the shell? Just a little insulating
Absolutely. So
dish.
I put a little
Saves
bit...
them washing up, doesn't it?
Well, yeah.
Exactly. Biodegradable. No, so what I've done is I've put the apple juice in there. So it almost steams it.
Apple juice and butter?
Apple juice and butter, yeah. And that's it. And a bit of salt, obviously.
OK.
And it kind of steams it, and it makes it just really sweet, really plump.
Right.
It works well.
Right. Let's get it in. And you want me to do this pumpkin as well, don't you?
Give you all the good jobs.
OK, this is rock hard, this boy.
Yeah.
Can I borrow your...
Well, the thing is...
Big knife.
Whenever you prep a squash, you need the biggest knife you can find. But if you're travelling down on a train with your pumpkin, you want to bring the smallest pumpkin to carry. So I've kind of got a bit of a mismatch for you there.
Well, what pumpkin have we got here then, Tom?
So that is a Crown Prince squash.
Okay.
So I think that has the best flavour of all the squash family. It's got this wonderful duck egg colour on the outside, but then inside it's got the most, I mean, have you ever seen the squash flesh so orange as that? It's
beautiful,
so from a culinary point of view, I think it's the best one. So with that, we're going to really cool technique, because, I mean, usually squashes, pumpkins, you make soup out of them, puree, roast them.
Yeah.
This one, you get loads of yield, so if you've made a soup or whatever, this is a really cool thing to do. So we freeze the flesh.
Okay.
Totally transforms the texture of it, almost has a texture of, I'd say, like melon.
Yeah.
Like really soft, really pliable, and makes it really delicious as a nice fresh thing to serve as a, you know, on a starter. So we're gonna basically.
So you're gonna freeze it rather than sort of cook it, is that?
Exactly. So we'll freeze it, and it'll go in hard and come out sort of soft and pliable.
Okay.
And then we're gonna stamp them out with these little star cutters, obviously, and make some little festive, squash stars.
Are you doing this just because it's Christmas, or is this what you do in the restaurant?
I am doing it just because it's Christmas, but it might become something we do in the restaurant. I quite like it. Takes a long time though, so I think the chefs wouldn't thank me for it. So I'm going to make a little broth really quickly to go with it. So I guess people at home, if they were going to make this dish, they might make a nice broth with some miso or some soy sauce, anything like that. I'm quite inspired by Asian cooking, but I've used all ingredients that we've dried ourselves or grown on the farm.
So talk us through what we've got here then.
So lots of things. So well, it looks like it's kind of a member of the Sep family. It grows near us. So dried mushrooms.
Is that all right, by the way?
That's lovely, yeah. Perfect. Dried chive flowers, awesome flavour.
Right.
These are the roes from the scallops, which I've dried and smoked. Dried kelp, tomatoes, roasted yeast, so it's kind of got that sort of...
Roasted yeast?
Yeah, so just take the baker's yeast, if you've got too much of it, roast it in the oven till it's dark, and there's a Marmite sort of flavour to it.
Can I try it?
You can, it's pretty savoury on its own, but it's nice to put into the stock. And of course, the daddy of all ingredients, dried lemon verbena.
Oh, that's
That is nice, right up your nose.
delicious.
Yeah, and then I've got a little bit of chicory root as well in here, which is a vegetable that we grow. So normally when you make stocks, you put in, you know, you might be boiling bones for hours and hours. Yeah. But with this, it's almost like a dashi, I suppose. Okay. So it's an infusion. So I start off with a very small amount of water and almost double double the weight in very flavourful ingredients.
Right. And is this, so what are we doing now?
Straight in the freezer.
Straight in the freezer?
Yep.
And that's going to kind of cook it as such?
Yeah, so what happens is the cells of the vegetable will freeze and expand and burst, and that's what makes it soft and pliable. So if you bring that one out now, see it'll be frozen solid. But this, because it's so thin, will defrost in a second. Right. So we'll just peel it off there, and then tell you what, you do the small ones because they're more fiddly.
Brilliant.
And I'll do the big ones.
Ace, thanks.
So.
Can I ask a basic scallop question?
Yes, please do.
How do you know when a scallop is good and when it's not good?
So this is a hand-dived scallop we've got down from Scotland. So there's two ways of basically harvesting scallops. Yeah. One is diving by hand, which is about the most effective best form of fishing you can do. Literally going down and picking to order by hand. You're not destroying any of the seabed, and you're just picking the very best. The opposite, which is ones you'll see in big tubs in the supermarket, all sort of there together. They're dredged, so the boat will go along the seashore and rip everything up, which is totally unsustainable. So first off, hand dive's a big thing. Them still being alive is the really big thing. Yeah. So with the scallop, you can tell straight away if it's still alive because you try and look at him and he'll shut up on you, he won't let you see. So, so that's the main thing, really, making sure it's alive. And I think if it's alive and fresh in its shell, you know that it's been caught in a very ethical way. Right. You're actually smashing through that.
Thank you very much.
I practiced this the other day, and it took me ages to try and do these.
So how'd you come up with this style, Jane?
The squash, well, we grow an awful lot of squashes, and they're incredibly easy to grow, so that's one of the reasons why we grow a lot. But like, what do you do with squashes? Like I say, like soup is the main sort of thing, and we're just trying to play around with different things we could do. Yeah. And we found that it was just a totally different texture and a way of doing something quite delicate with a vegetable that's fairly big.
It's, I think I was doing all right then, but now it's kind of thawing out.
Oh, I'll get on to the next next one then.
It's proving a little bit tricky. Right, let's go with that.
Let's go with that one.
How many stars do you need?
I don't know. I mean, this feels like a rhetorical question, really.
This is not exactly BAFTA winning, is it? You know what I mean?
I think I've done enough. Yeah. We'll go with it. Right. Cool. So this stock, Matt, is like you can smell that. See how little water I put in there and how many ingredients. So the flavour of that, it's just basically trying to make something really, really umami. So
I mean, in order to get that kind of taste at home, are there sort of some basic sort of flavours that you'd need?
Well, I think dried lemon verbena, if you could get hold of it, is an amazing thing. But dried mushrooms, I always talk about. I think that's the best base to make a stock with. And I think, obviously, I've used ingredients from my farm, but you could use definitely things like soy sauce, miso. These are all the sort of really umami, really delicious things that make great broths, and obviously will go very well with a sweet shellfish.
Yeah. I mean, the baker's yeast is a nice tip. That's,
yeah, so that's really easy. If you're making bread at home and you've got some yeast left over, a great sort of flavour. And I use in anything vegetarian, I like using yeast. Yeah. Because it's got this sort of meaty, earthy flavour to it. So the scallops, I've just got another minute or so in there. Yeah. When it comes out, I'm gonna colour it off in the pan as well. Okay. Because the best thing about a scallop, I think, is that crust on the very top that's absolutely delicious. So what I want to do is get the best of both worlds.
It's lovely.
So that's only after a minute or so. I've got one that I've made earlier just so we get all the flavour into it. But I'd only infuse that for maybe half an hour.
Okay. It's basically... Can you overdo it?
Yeah, I think so. It's starting to go more bitter. But
it's like making a tea.
Exactly. Exactly. That's making tea. I think it's just so quick and simple. So the last little...
Right, your scallops had 7 minutes, Stu.
Let's get it out of the oven, yes, please. So, right, there you go. So that's probably had plenty of time. Let's have a look at it. Oh, yeah, so that's lovely. So you can see it's still a little bit translucent on the top. Yeah. It's nice, almost sort of jelly-like.
It's a nice fat scallop, isn't it?
Yeah.
So do you use this at all?
Do you know what? I don't. What's it taste like? Butter and apple juice and a bit of scallop?
Yeah, it tastes delicious.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Probably should. Probably should put that into the broth, actually.
Lovely, huh?
So a little bit of oil in there, so we can just seal it off. And I just take the side which would have been attached to the top of the shell. It's more of a sort of presentation side. And we'll just seal it off. And then, while that's sealing off, we've got the broth ready. I've got these lovely little, these are strawberries, which you guys came and visited us up on the farm a month or so ago. That's right. This is one of the things we talked about. So these are unripe strawberries from the farm, which we just, basically, 3 months they've been in salt for. Right. So really quite salty. And then they go into a pickling liquor. So I almost describe them a little bit like olives. They're sort of salty, quite fruity, but they kind of retain that strawberry flavour. So quite an interesting thing to have with fish. So that's got a nice little colour on it now. So we'll start with a few of the strawberries in the bottom. A few more.
The apple juice thing is really interesting.
Yeah, I think it's just a lovely bit of acidity.
So a lot of these kind of ideas come about because you've got an excess of...
Absolutely, yeah. So, you know, at the moment we'll have a ton of apples, literally 1,000 kilos of apples. Right. And...
Got to get rid of them.
Exactly. And there's only so many baked apples you can do. So I'm just going to spray those stars.
And those.
And those. Oh, they're so small, I'm not going to pick them up. In a little bit. That's elderflower infused vinegar, which I just think is delicious.
Right, where do these go?
So I'm going to put them on top of the scallop. So I'm just going to carve this. I think the other nice thing about... So often fish is just left as a big lump of fish, right? But this is so meaty that almost carve it and treat it like a piece of meat. So we'll put that over top of the... Fan that over there. A little lick of some brown butter. That's just going to make it even more luxurious.
Because it's very savoury notes, there's very sweet notes.
Yeah, exactly. So you've got very sour strawberries, very sweet scallops. These little stars are sour, but then obviously sweet with the butternut squash. Yeah. And then the broth is just earthy and umami-like.
There's a lot of tweezer action in your kitchen, isn't there?
We
noticed that in your in the film we did with you.
Ironically, I'm useless at it as well. So So this is the scallop roe, which just smoked and dried. That's going to add even more of that umami sort of flavour. And I've saved a few of these dried chive flowers back as well. And I think it's nice this time of year. You can add sort of a nice bit of colour to your festive dishes without using something from the other side of the world.
So, Tommy, remind us what it's called.
So this is my starry scallop dish. It's a baked scallop with a really umami broth made from everything from the farm, and of course my squash stars.
Delicious. Right, let's take it over here. Do you want to have a seat, Chief? There you are, Emilia.
Look at that! How beautiful is that?
Froth.
It's amazing.
Amazing. Paul, dive in.
Oh.
Watch your coat, though. I wouldn't want the dry cleaning bill.
I
shedding
definitely
it.
like the cutting out the stars job.
Yeah?
Yeah,
You'd like
I find that
as a
really
job?
cathartic.
What do you reckon about that? I think
What's that?
it's cutting out the stars.
It was fine when they're frozen.
Yeah.
When they're not frozen,
Oh
really
my
difficult.
goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Less
kitchen,
cathartic then.
kitchen won't be grateful for that one, I tell you.
That is so delicious.
Beautifully sweet. Got a touch of salty. Delicious.
Yeah, hopefully all the flavours sort of play off each other, because scallops are the most sweet shellfish I think you can have.
And I love that idea of cooking them in the shell. If you didn't have a shell, could you just do it in a ramekin with foil on? And make it basic.
I guess so. I think I just quite like using what we already have. The only
is a
problem
great
you get is, obviously, if you do several for a dinner party, you've got to get all the shells to match up. So if you notice that one had a number on it, so you number the shells. Otherwise, if they don't match up, then they don't steam. It all goes outside.
That's super clever.
Do you want to try
Those little tomato, those little strawberries at the bottom. Really, they are very olivey.
Ooh,
Yeah.
try
Taste some salt, aren't you? Kind of sweet, fruity salt. It's a strange
I
one.
think I only describe them as being like olives because I just don't think there's anything else that you could describe them like. 'Cause they don't taste like olives, but it's got that briny, salty, savouriness.
Yeah.
That's the first strawberry I've eaten in 40 years that I've liked.
The first?
Strawberry.
Really? Do
Yeah.
you not like strawberries?
Not at all.
Really?
Yeah.
Would
I like that
strawberry-
Have you got
acidity.
a strawberry story?
Are you savage, babe?
I don't think I have.
Traumatic
Why,
experience.
honestly, the tangy, sweet, vinegary, but still strawberry flavour is delicious.
So would strawberry be your hell if you came on? as a guest?
Absolutely. I wouldn't be, I don't think I'd be able to eat it. Like, it's, you know.
What's this?
So this, I've gone for a really classic match for scallops, which is Chenin Blanc. Chenin Blanc is such a brilliant grape. Its spiritual home is the Loire Valley, but this is from South Africa. And it's got a bit of barrel fermentation as well, which gives it a bit more oomph, technical term that. But it needs the flavours really to match the kind of earth. There's some lovely earthy flavours, but I didn't want anything that would sit over all those gorgeous flavours you've got in the broth. This is £5.50 from Asda. It is an absolute bargain. Yeah. So again, I mean, this is something that it's such a good food wine anyway, Chenin, but scallops, it wins hands down, definitely for me.
Very nice, very nice. That. Paul, remind us what you're doing in a bit.
A Bucks Fizz white chocolate tart, white chocolate snowflakes, some chocolate snow, and some little snowball truffles.
Quite theatrical.
No strawberries.
No.
No.
Right. Thanks for that, Rick. Now, Rick certainly got into the spirit of things there with that traditional smoky bishop mulled wine. So I'm going to use some of the same ingredients with this leftover dish. It makes a really good pudding. A lot of things you're left with at this time of year. Bread, I always get left with. Christmas pudding doesn't always go down in one hit. So I'm going to put together a very traditional British bread pudding. So I'm going to cook it, and then we're going to slice it, and I'm going to dip it in some egg and some sugar. We're going to turn it into sort of a pamperdou, or a nice colour of crispy egg bread, and serve it with some rum custard. So I'm going to get on with that. There's not much to this. It's basically chuck it all in, like I will now. And there's eggs in there, there's milk, there's cream, some bread, and then a lump of the leftover Christmas pud. Because you've got a thing for leftovers, haven't you?
That is my idea of heaven.
Is
so,
it?
Yeah.
Why is that?
I love Christmas pudding.
Really? I mean,
And if you haven't used up your bread for bread sauce, which is also one of my favourites, then this is going to be perfect.
OK, good.
Yeah.
Right, so let's chuck this in, and then we'll get...
I think it's also because I have a memory of my mum making Christmas pudding, and that's a really lovely childhood nostalgic memory.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do you make yours?
No. My mum does.
All right, fair enough. Right, let's get some liquids in there as well. So in with the milk, in with the cream. There's quite a few eggs going in here as well, some sugar, and then let it all kind of steep and sit for a while to soak up. That's pretty much it. So I've got some nutmeg going in here. There's a pinch of mixed spice, pinch of cinnamon, and that's that. Right, so Emilia.
Yeah.
Out tomorrow is the new drama, Trial of Christine Keeler, and it's a new take, isn't it, on the kind of, I suppose, the emotional kind of characters behind the whole sort of infamous scandal?
Well, I think because we all have sort of some idea of what happened with that scandal, it set the sort of benchmark for media scandals of that kind ever since. And then this six-part drama gives a sort of more intimate insight and portrait into how Christine Keeler, who was an ordinary girl, you know, she was incredibly young.
Yeah.
You know, she was trying to survive, trying to look after her mum, earn a bit of money, and have some fun. And she became involved with these people and she was used as a pawn. Yeah. With a sort of domino downfall effect on so many people and ultimately the government. Yeah,
it was an incredible story. I mean, very often sort of, I suppose, political scandals that have happened in the past wouldn't seem so kind of destructive these days. Yeah. But that one would be.
Well, we've sort of got used to it now, haven't we? But I think at the time it was such a sort of potent mix of ingredients, wasn't it?
I mean, throw a Russian spy in the mix.
I know, exactly, yeah.
I mean, it's great to watch. You play Valerie Hobson, Jack or John Profumo's wife. Yes. So when you're looking at those sort of characters, did you research her? Because she was a very famous kind of force in her own right, wasn't she?
Yes, I absolutely did. And in fact, she's, I think, one of the best characters I've ever played.
Oh, really?
And I felt a real affinity to her, not in our experiences in life, but just because I really, really felt for her as a woman and an actress and a wife and a mother. And you know, she had a very successful career in her own right. Yeah. And when she got married to Profumo, she retired from acting and gave it up. But, you know, when they initially got married, they were the golden couple, and he was known as the husband of Valerie Hobson. Yeah. She'd done some fairly successful films. And so she gave up her career, and then when the sort of fall happened, and she knew what her husband was like. She knew that he was dedicated to the job and he admired beautiful women. But after the scandal, you see her sort of managing what, you know, the effect of the scandal and doing it with strength and loyalty and love. And I think her reputation has been, you know, sort of portrayed as staying with him for the reputation of the family. And, of course, I think there was an element of course, staying together for their child. But ultimately, she loved him. Yeah. And that's what I loved playing in this drama.
Let me just put this in. So this goes into hot oven, about sort of 140 for about an hour. Just keep an eye on it. And then let it set up. And then that's what it looks like when it comes out. So when you're researching this, do you, as an actor, do you take on how you would react in those situations, or do you try and find out how you think she would have reacted?
I tried to find out how she would have reacted, and there's a great book written by their son, which I read and was very, very insightful about their family life and what it was like during that time. And also, you know, because she was an actress, there were films to watch and photographs to look at, so the costume and makeup was very much based on those photographs. And yes, there was lots for me to sort of delve into, which was a luxury in playing her, I think.
Right, so this is the custard I'm making here. So milk and cream into that bowl here. I've got 3 eggs and some soft brown sugar here, and mix those together. And then I'm going to flavour that with some rum. So just take this over here, carry on. And this starts tomorrow night?
Yes. So there are two consecutive nights, and then every week thereafter, and it's 6 parts.
It's a great cast as well, isn't it?
Amazing cast. So lovely Ben Miles, who plays Profumo, who I worked with I mean, 20 years ago when we both started out. So it was...
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was great getting to act together again. And also, I think because we knew each other, that was helpful than being married to each other.
Yeah.
And then Sophie Cookson...
she's brilliant,
She's amazing.
She plays the young Christine Keeler. Yeah. James Norton from McMafia fame and other things, obviously.
Yeah. Playing Stephen Ward.
Yeah. He was an interesting character as well, wasn't he?
Yes. I think... You know, there is so many films and books written about it, and everyone's got a different opinion on what they were like as people. But hopefully, I think this gives a real sort of human insight into them, and you know, and the emotions of what, you know, how difficult it was to sort of survive domestic life after that very, very public scandal. And certainly for Valerie, every time it was brought up, you know, the sort of in the press, it became a public humiliation for her. Yeah. And that is what put the strain on their marriage, because in fact, when he was shunned by work and by society, she got him back, and that's when their sort of love, the crisis years, were when they had a good, you know, difficult, but they were very close. Yeah. And then, of course, he went off and worked in the charitable world again, and she lost him a second time, and I think that was hard.
Oh, right, there you go. That was good timing. Right, milk and cream up to the boil, into the yolks and the sugar, and then back onto the heat very, very slowly. So, next year, Silent Witness.
Yes.
Your 23rd year?
23rd series, yeah.
23rd series. And you've been doing it for 15 years, is that right?
I think so.
I mean, that's like an alter ego, isn't it? Really? I mean, I know you can't say too much, but this one's quite emotional, isn't it?
It is very emotional. As, you know, many of these series focus on family and the family of the Lyle, the four of us, amongst the sort of mysteries and the solving of crime. This does have a strong family theme to it. There's an episode where a case reminds Nikki of her mother, who has died, and then there's an absolutely brilliant episode which focuses on Liz Carr's character, Clarissa, and her relationship with her mum, who is not well, which had all of us crying from the very beginning of reading it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. And when, I mean, when you get a script like that, you must think, sort of year after year, I mean, this is, you know, surely this is it, this is the last one. But then, you know, if they keep coming up with scripts like this, it must be terribly exciting for the crew.
There's always more crimes to solve. In different ways.
And do you still enjoy doing it as much? You still get that sort of same buzz out of it?
I love it. I love it. Like the very first time I stepped onto the Silent Witness set, and I think that's all credit to the writers and the worlds they put us in, always dictated by the body and where it's found.
Yeah. Helen, you're a fan, aren't you?
Yeah, I always thought Nikki had the most enviable wardrobe.
I know. It's good fun using a wardrobe. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, she just does. She just does.
Not all those fab storylines.
Fab storylines too, but she just always looks
great
beautiful.
wardrobe.
On the alter ego thing.
Yes. Yeah.
I find that fascinating because obviously I'm not an actor. But if I was, I think I'd struggle to realise what was me and what wasn't. Do you know what I mean? Do you ever have a conflict of you get so into a role that you start thinking like the character, or are you just?
I feel like I know her so well that I feel quite protective of her as a character. And I suppose because we've led parallel lives, but you know, as soon as I'm not working, I'm home, and then I feel like I totally can leave the character behind.
And you don't ever think of the character, really?
I think of it in terms of learning lines and stories and things like that, but I don't think that we totally cross over. But I've loved having her in my life. She's been like a great friend.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting way to look at it,
Yeah. And the pathologists that I've met, I think probably because they spend so much time in mortuaries and in their scrubs and things like that, they really do identify themselves with their clothes.
Because she started as an archaeologist, didn't she?
Yes, she did.
And sort of accidentally moved across.
She was good at reconstructing, and then she'd done pathology as well, and now you see her mostly doing that.
Yeah.
But actually, there's some good reconstructive work in this one.
Yeah.
Oh, can't wait.
Right. Well, the chat is going on. There you go.
Delicious.
So that's bread pudding, leftover special. Do you want to try that? So that's got rum in the custard. There's a little bit of rum in the bread pudding, fried off, so it's nice and sort of crispy. Yeah.
Thank you.
Give it a try.
I'm going to keep this all
I was
to
gonna say.
myself. I'm like turning my back on you. That is amazing.
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 Sorry, I know we get excited about that. That was Sam Restaurant, 2,000 for lunch. Incredible. I wouldn't want to do that. Right, still to come. Drinks expert Helen McGinn is on hand to give us her tips on fizz to see in the new year. And will it all fall silent if Emilia gets hell, beef Wellington, or will she be witness to receiving her food heaven? Turkey, you're very kind. Turkey risotto with crispy pancetta. We're going to find a foodie fate out later at the end of the show. OK, Paul, should we go and cook?
Let's go do it.
Right. What are we making then?
We are making a gorgeous Bucks Fizz tart with white chocolate, orange pastry, and some snowballs, some snowflakes, and snow.
OK.
Quite a lot, isn't it? It's a lot of white chocolate. First thing is the pastry, which is a classic pastry: butter, flour, sugar, water, egg yolks to enrich it, and some orange zest grated through it. OK. So we've lined a tart ring or a tart case, baked it blind, but left the pastry hanging over the edge. So it does look messy at the minute, but that will get trimmed off later. OK.
So and why would you do that?
It's so you get a really nice clean edge at the top, so and so the pastry doesn't shrink and drop in. Otherwise, your tart ring starts there, but your pastry goes all the way down. Right. You need to fit the ganache in. OK. So you've made ganache before, haven't you?
Yeah, I've made it
a few times. You've made quite a lot. We're going to make a white chocolate ganache this time with champagne, orange juice, and orange zest. So the Bucks Fizz part. So if you could grate the orange zest into the pan. I'm going to pour in some fresh orange juice, just making sure it's not from concentrate. It's a really fresh orange juice that has a lot of vibrancy to it. A little mini bottle of champagne.
Right, and if you didn't want to use champagne, could you use something else?
Do you know what? English sparkling wine is absolutely incredible right now. I think the quality is incredible, the flavour, so I'll go for that. Or if you don't want to use any alcohol at all, just use orange juice. So it becomes a really more orange juice just to make up the weight.
What, with ganache?
Yes.
Like, traditionally you think ganache would be like chocolate, cream, butter, probably.
Yeah.
Every time I see you make ganache, it's some form of liquid and chocolate.
Yeah. It's, with white chocolate specifically, it's already fat. It's cocoa butter, milk, sugar. And adding double cream on it, it splits a lot very quickly, so you get all the fat coming out. But it's also incredibly rich. It's after Christmas, we've all eaten a lot. This is a bit lighter. You still have that rich flavour and texture without the heavy feeling. And that's by using water or wine or tea or coffee, whatever it is to flavour it.
Right.
And I like making ganaches with water-based ingredients rather than cream. And I never whip butter in anymore. It just makes it too greasy and too fatty.
I remember you saying you get much more sort of pure taste.
You do, especially if you're using...
Without being masked
If you're using like a single oranging dark chocolate and you've got a specifically fruity or earthy taste and you add cream to it, you're making that dark chocolate into milk chocolate. Yeah. When actually you want to taste the complexity of the dark chocolate and the bean, where it's from. So the water doesn't destroy that at all. It brightens it and livens it up. Don't boil the champagne and orange juice, because you want to keep a bit of the booze in. Right. Pour that onto our chocolate.
OK. Now, using white chocolate, is it actually chocolate, white chocolate?
That's a brilliant question. Thanks. I get asked this a lot. Right. You've done your homework, haven't you? Thanks. Good. You're welcome. It is. It is. It is chocolate. It is chocolate, as long as the only fat in that is cocoa butter. Cocoa butter holds chocolate together. If you take cocoa butter out of chocolate, you get cocoa powder. If you take the cocoa solids, the brown part, out of the cocoa bean, you get cocoa butter left, being squeezed out of the bean. So as long as your white chocolate's cocoa butter, milk, sugar, vanilla, it's real chocolate because it's from the bean. It's just 0% cocoa solid.
So when you look at the kind of the high street white chocolate, will that have cocoa butter in it?
Some of it will. Some of it will have cocoa butter and other fats. If you look at confectionery, it's probably got a few other fats in there. But just look on the back. If it just says cocoa butter, sugar, whole milk powder and vanilla, it's real white chocolate. Fine. Next step. So the ganache is made. Oh, sorry, I need to fill the tart. Bring it back over. So this ganache would get poured into our tart case. Pour it in. So this is not getting cooked, this is just set. It doesn't get cooked, no. That goes in the fridge.
Now you want me to take this to the fridge and that's spilling it everywhere.
So if I pop that in the fridge, I'll grab the door for you. It's very liquid at this stage.
It's like a Christmas game.
Yeah,
I'm not doing it.
It's a really fun game, Paul. Thanks very much.
You're very welcome. And then if you could bring out the set...
Yeah, and on top of that, they just said, you've got to read as well. Right. Don't forget, if you want to try Paul's recipe or any studio dishes you've seen today, then visit the website bbc.co.uk/Saturday Kitchen.
Right. There'll be a set tart.
Set tart and the rest of the mix, yeah?
Please.
OK.
Lovely. Great. So that ganache will set up like a really creamy, silky, smooth filling. If you pop it on there...
Looks beautiful.
Lovely. Looks gorgeous. So if you could trim off the pastry, and if you trim it off away from you so that the crumbs don't go on the top. Okay. While you do that, I'm going to make some snow. So I've got some chocolate in the fridge. This is the only time you store or put chocolate in the fridge for any length of time. So the white chocolate buttons are really cold. Into a food processor. We're going to blitz them up.
Right, where shall I put this?
So, you just pop that on the board there.
Okay.
Pop that under there. So we just keep chopping this chocolate to get it small pieces. There we go. So that's now rumbly. Need a little bit more.
Okay. So what's this? This is snow element?
This is just to make the snow, to make like a crumble to go on top of the tart.
Righto.
So while I'm doing that, if I could give you some of this. If you could just roll some of this. This is the ganache that sets into snowballs.
Exactly the same stuff as went into the tart.
Exactly the same stuff.
I think you should have a snowball and star off.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah.
So you think?
Fight.
Oh, yeah. We have got some snowflakes coming up. And I'm going to make a piping bag, so we need to make some snowflakes.
Okay.
So this is my top tip. It's very easy. It doesn't look it, but it's quite easy.
Yeah, go on. Show us this.
A rectangle of paper.
Yeah.
Come in 6 inches from the bottom and draw a triangle. And then I'm going to turn around. Excuse me, facing my back to the camera. You roll this...
I thought you were going to do an act. What with that? You've done the whole tradition.
That's why he's wearing the jacket.
Do you remember the ones where I used to fold the paper and just tear it?
Can do that. Big old string of something coming at you.
Snowflakes. Take the longest edge of the triangle and you roll it round that edge.
I mean, this is a good one. I mean, given we're plastic-free, we don't have piping bags.
There are a lot of plastic piping bags out there, but paper ones, you make a cone. I mean, I've made that look very easy, but we make hundreds of these to work.
And then you can choose how thick or thin you want the end.
Exactly, yeah. So, to make snowflakes, take your greaseproof paper or silicone mat.
Generally, when you go to restaurants and they write happy birthday on your plate, that's what they're using.
Exactly, a tiny piping bag. Do you know that something important is that the bigger the piping bag, the trickier it is to work. If you think of a pen, the pens are not this big.
Yeah.
They're this
Fun
big.
if they were.
In writing it'd be shocking. Shocking. Fill it with cooled white chocolate, so no tempering with this. We just melted it and cooled it down a little bit.
Yeah.
Snip off a little hole, make sure it flows through, and then we're just going to pipe star shapes. But go over it a few times so it's got a little bit of body to it. If they're too thin, they will just break. But make sure we do lots and lots of different sizes. Go big. It doesn't need any artistic skill to do this. You just go anywhere you like, look.
It's quite fun, isn't it?
It is. It should be. It's chocolate. Yeah? You're surprised that it's fun?
No, I'm not. I always have fun with chocolate, apart from tempering.
They go in the fridge, let them set for 5 minutes, and we'll bring these over. That's our final thing.
OK.
So the tart's been trimmed. Got one here trimmed.
And am I rolling some of these in here?
Yeah, so if you can put some of these, or yours, through the icing sugar. I'm going to tip some of this lovely chocolate crumble on top of the tart. So just tip this out. You're having fun there? Lovely. So, chocolate crumble on top.
I think there should be more.
Yeah.
Lift them out.
Where are these
I'm going to put a little bit of silver over the top of that.
Yeah.
You're going to put a little bit of gold on those.
OK.
And I'm going to start positioning.
Oh, my word.
Oh, look.
I mean...
Pretty.
Amazing.
Oh, they're melting under the lights. There we go.
That's proper celebration stuff.
It is, yeah.
Right. So I need to dust these off a bit?
You don't. You can just place them on the
top. Where am I putting gold?
A little bit across to give them a bit of sparkle. Artistic. It needs to hit the snowball.
Oh. All right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Pony.
It looks great. So place these on. Go to town a bit. You know, we can put quite a few of this on there.
I like this. What's this stuff?
Edible, sparkly pigment. Brilliant for chocolate. Place these on. In and on and around.
Did you just spray that directly into your mouth?
No, I didn't. I was going to.
It is everywhere.
I thought better of it.
Thought about it.
There we go. And the plate. Decorate the plate. Make extra of these. Always make more than you need because they break. They're very fragile. Last one going on. Let's see if we can position it vertically. There we go.
Oh. It looks amazing. What do you call it?
It's our white chocolate Bucks Fizz tart with snowball, snowflakes and snow.
Try it. OK, let's go.
Lovely. Shall I be mum?
Hey, oh yes.
I'll be mum.
Yeah,
I'll portion it up for you.
There you go.
Oh, it's so pretty.
Oh, thank you.
Are those little spray gold silver things, are they easy to get hold of?
They are. They're in most supermarkets now.
Thank you.
And online.
Thank you.
Are they?
And you get them in copper and bronze, silver, scarlet, all kinds of things.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you the most popular member of your family at Christmas time?
I am if I turn up with lots of bags full of chocolate.
I bet you are.
And if you don't, then you might as well leave. Walk out and leave.
Yeah, okay. You're very good with your chocolates, though, aren't you?
Thank you.
I do.
Very
Well,
generous
chocolate's one of the things
guys.
that are universally shareable, aren't they? Everybody likes them. So.
No, thanks.
So it's quite light and zingy, not too rich.
Oh my word.
Oh, it's gone very quiet.
I know.
Oh my word.
Silent.
That's a good sign, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Really. You don't need it too deep, do you?
The orange in that totally comes through, doesn't it?
It's not as sweet as you'd think. Like, to look at all that white chocolate, you think, whoa, but I could eat this all day long.
It's got the tang of the booze as well, right?
It does, but there's no added sugar. I.e. the sweetness is just from the chocolate.
Just from chocolate.
You don't need to add any more. You need the champagne to kind of have that little bit of acidity.
Helen, what on earth have you got to go with this?
Well, actually, I did try it with champagne because I love trying to, if you're using booze in the cooking, to try and match it. But this needs something sweet, so champagne didn't work. I did try. So instead, we've gone for a sweet wine. Now, this is from the Languedoc. It's made from the Muscat grape. This one is from Sainsbury's. It's £5.25. So it is a brilliant price for a pudding wine, a sweet wine. It's basically a bit like a light sauterne, but what I really loved about it with this dish is because this wine has got orange notes in there, like you can see the fruit is very light and orangey, and it really picks up on the orange notes in the pudding. But also you've got freshness in here as well, and you do need freshness if you've got a mouthful of chocolate. And some people say chocolate and wine is a tricky match. I have never found it tricky drinking wine and eating chocolate. So I have to say.
It's tricky.
It's hard to match it so well with white chocolate. Because it generally is vanilla and sweet, but that is just the right balance of sweet.
Yes,
that's quite a festive sort of flavour to it. It's like orange, but sort of tangerine-y.
Yeah, it's exactly.
It's a
really light and
price
lifting.
too.
Yeah.
Nice combination, like that. Well done, Helen. Well done.
Thanks.
Loving that Cocho. Right, New Year's Eve is nearly upon us, but it's not too late to stock up the fridge with your festive bubbles. Now, the fizz market is growing bigger, and so is the confusion about what to buy. So our bubbly expert here, Helen, is going to give us some tips. Helen, there's a lot going on now.
There is a lot going on.
And the price range is huge, right?
The price range is huge, and there are deals all over the place as well, which is always good if you're in the market to buy fizz. But there are different types of fizz suit different occasions.
Okay.
So what I've tried to do here is really take you through which fizz suits which occasion.
Great.
So we will start...
So we got 4 glasses of fizz to drink in about 2 minutes.
This is very doable. It's Christmas.
Right, pass it down. So we're going to start with this.
We'll start with the first one, which is a carver. Now, the thing about carver is it's from Spain. It's made in the same way as champagne, so it's bottle fermented. So what that means is to get the bubbles in the bottle, you do a second fermentation in the bottle. That creates bubbles. If you do it in the bottle, they can't escape. So made in the same way as champagne, but obviously Cava is much cheaper. And being from Spain, it's riper and more fruity in style. So you are paying $7.25 for this, a bottle, as opposed to probably 2 or 3 times if you were having champagne. But it is very different in taste and style, but it's a brilliant one if you're going to do champagne cocktails, use Cava. If you're going to do Bucks Fizz or mimosas or champagne cocktail. So...
Okay, and where's this from? This is from the Co-op?
This is from the Co-op, yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
£7.25. I mean, yes, if you're going to mix that with other flavours.
So if you were going to put a sugar lump in there, put a few drops of...
for breakfast.
Why would you put a sugar lump in there?
Because then you put some bitters and a drop of brandy and you've got a champagne cocktail.
Okay, fine.
So
in a sugar lump, but just... Do you like that? Is that your thing?
I'd like it as a cocktail.
Yeah, as a cocktail, definitely. Okay.
A really good value for what it is, for a bottle fermented fizz. So, moving on, next, we've got a crowd pleaser. So if you have got lots of people in and you want to give them something champagne-like, but you also want to look like you're in the know, then go for Crémant. So Crémant is basically, it's French, it's from any region apart from Champagne in France. And there are about 8 different regions that make Crémant. So this is from the Loire, hence Crémant de Loire. You get Crémant de Bourgogne.
They can't call it champagne because it's not made in champagne.
They can't call it champagne because it's not from the
Champagne
Champagne
it's done in the same
region. It's made in exactly the same way, so bottle fermented again. But usually, sometimes from the same grapes, Champagne, which is Chardonnay, Pinot Noir and Pinot Meunier. But this one is Chenin Blanc, which is the Loire white grape, and some Chardonnay. So it tastes like champagne. It's a bit like champagne light, if you like.
You can. I mean, this is what, $7.99 from Lidl?
$7.99 from Lidl.
I mean, you can get some very expensive Crémants, can't you?
You can, but I find most of the good ones will be between... I mean, this is one of the cheapest and better ones, I would say. They go up to about £15, but if you like, you get, like I say, it's a bit like champagne, just lighter, and it's still French, so it still feels quite nice and classic, and it just, you know, saves you...
I like the richness, that kind of buttery finish on it.
Yeah. Well, again, and that's what, if you are doing a fizz that's been bottle fermented, that's what gives it that lovely toasty character as well. So it's a bit like lemon biscuits.
When you're at a party, what's your thinking about getting the expensive stuff out at the start when people arrive and they know what they're drinking, and then slipping in the cheap stuff later?
Well, funny you should say that, because the next one, I have gone for a vintage champagne. So this third one, it's the real deal. And like I say, as lovely as it is to get stuff a bit cheaper, nowhere does a champagne like champagne. That's the only place you can get it. This is a vintage champagne, and it's one that's on offer at the moment in Waitrose. So this is normally $25.99, and it's down at price at the moment to $19.99. So an absolute bargain. For a vintage champagne, so vintage champagne means it comes from one particular year. So it's like the best of the best, really.
Got to stock up on that, no?
Yes, exactly.
I mean, I think that's what she's going to say.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it feels much more full.
Yes, it is. So this has actually got, this is a blend of classic champagne grapes, but it's got quite a few of the red grapes in there as well, so it's a really lovely, lovely style. Rich and toasty, which is, you know, that just works really well.
It's a lot more complex than the other.
And for seeing in the new year, so I think when it comes to the new year, you want to go for something now, you've done all these special wines here. When it comes to midnight, you've probably had a glass or 2 before then. So
I know what you're saying, Helen.
Don't save this stuff don't save the smart stuff for midnight. Go back to a real crowd pleaser, which is Prosecco. So Prosecco, some people are a bit sniffy about Prosecco nowadays because it is cheap and cheerful, but that, for me, is the joy of it. It is so easy to drink, from Italy, obviously, and this one here is Tesco Finest from £6, from a really good producer. It's just one of those brilliant wines that, no matter how late it is, it will still go down well. Especially with a bacon sandwich, actually.
Any thoughts on this, guys?
It's going to be a crowd pleaser, that, isn't it? It's got a lot more fruit than the others. And just tasty.
Easy to drink.
It is very easy to drink, isn't it?
That's the joy of Prosecco.
Too easy.
Do you think, I mean, is this Prosecco bubble going to keep going, as it were?
People talk about the Prosecco bubble bursting, but it's not showing any signs of bursting quite yet.
Right.
I mean, what I'm really excited about the fact that English sparkling wine is growing, and that's a real success story.
Yeah.
But that is more expensive. You know, this is sparkling wine for £6 onwards, so it has its place very much.
Yeah. Any favourites, guys?
Oh, I love that. I think that's happily a year in a glass. Yeah.
I love the Cremant.
Do you?
Yeah,
But I never
lovely.
knew what... I've seen Cremant on the shelf. I've never known what it was.
Yes.
Is it champagne
now
or
you
not?
know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Now you know.
Value for money wise, definitely Cremant.
Cremant.
Yeah, you can imagine having it with canapes, couldn't you, at the start of the night, a little posh little dinner party.
Yes,
It'd be
exactly.
great.
It's a bit different.
I know. So nobody says champagne.
I'll pick the
Oh, that was delicious.
That was interesting. And I love the fact you've gone my way and you thought, right, let's give them good stuff early.
Yes.
End up with the cheap stuff. And
End
we're
up
all
with
a bit
the cheap stuff, exactly. They're all lovely
worse
by
for
then
wear.
anyway.
As it were. Anyway, cheers. Thanks for clearing that up.
Cheers.
So will Emilia face her food heaven, turkey risotto with crispy pancetta, or will it be food hell, beef Wellington with a celeriac puree? Now, thanks for that, Nigella. Time to find out whether Emilia is getting her food heaven or food hell. This is your idea of food heaven, a big old turkey leg, leftovers, risotto, things like that, yeah? This is your idea of food hell, beef, or beef Wellington in particular, a little celeriac puree. So there's no public votes today, so Emilia's dish will be chosen by fate. These two clowns have got the Saturday Kitchen New Year Party cannons. One contains blue confetti for heaven and the other contains red confetti for hell. All you need to do is to choose one of these two to let one off.
Look how excited they both are. It's so hard to choose.
So who are you going to choose?
Well, Tommy's been so excited about firing the cannon. I think it's got to be Tommy.
Yeah?
It has.
Tommy, are you ready?
I'm ready.
3, 2, 1. That's heaven! That's heaven! Right, whoa. I like these cannons. That's great. Whoa, just to prove, go on, do yours. You ready?
To the way.
Right, let's go and cook.
Wow.
Oh, sorry.
These are awesome.
I like that. Can we get some more of that?
So pretty.
Okay, so let's lose all this. This is the stuff you don't want.
Okay.
Here, let's give you that. Okay.
Where do we want it?
Yeah, let's take that. Thank you very much. I'll move that over here.
I'm just
Right.
taking away hell.
So risottos, leftovers. I was intrigued when I heard this. Right, guys, so if you want to crisp that up, take the skin off of this as well. So we're going to use that as a bit of a garnish.
Chop the onion.
Half the onion.
Fine dice.
Sorry.
Probably, yes, fine dice. One of those celery sticks will probably be enough. We're going to throw some Parmesan rinds in there as well. Standard risotto, really, but it's a nice thing to use up turkey, I think, because there's always a lot of turkey kicking around.
Well, my mum's going to be really happy because she takes over on Christmas Day.
Right.
And then now I feel that I can reciprocate.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, do you like cooking? Do you like getting...
I do now.
attention?
It's taken me many years to get to loving cooking, but I think cooking is about confidence, isn't it?
I think so. Yes, you're probably right. It's also about, you know, not worrying too much. At the end of the day, it's just food if you're at home.
Yeah, but other people
nobody's-
have got to eat it. That would be my worry.
Well, there is that. But it's not quite the kind of, you know, life and death that people sort of
Well, it could be.
get upset. Well, it could be.
It really could be if I got it wrong.
Oh, yeah, if you reheated rice badly, maybe it would. OK, so nice. This up. Now, we're going to throw in rice at the end. So what is it with the leftovers? Is that sort of your upbringing?
I
would you
love
say?
leftovers, yeah. I love cold turkey. I love stuffing that's left over, bread sauce, gravy, all of that.
Yeah.
And so it's nice to be able to do something and put all of that together rather than just eating them as, you know, the same meal but recycled. Nice to do something.
What are your New Year plans? Will you be out, in, out?
I do quiet New Year's.
Quiet.
Yeah. I think I did all my going out New Year's in my 20s. Now it's quiet.
Me too.
Matt?
Me too, yeah.
Yeah.
I like a good house party.
Of course, Matt's going out.
Actually. Yeah, I do. Or I just going down the pub. I stayed in last year and watched Jaws Holland.
With champagne, glass of fizz.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Yeah. There is that need to kind of feel like you're having a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But do you like going out at New Year because then you don't have to do all the cooking for everyone? Are you like overcooking by?
To be honest, I don't do an awful lot of cooking at Christmas because I've done it once and it's quite a thankless task.
You've done it once?
Yeah.
In your career as a chef?
No, we always chat at Christmas, but you know, when I've done it. Are you boys all right? Are you busy? Shall I?
I was just going to ask you a question. Why do you put a piece of parmesan in whole?
It's the rinds.
Oh, I've never seen that done before.
Just to give it a nice... Have you not done
No.
it? No, it's good. You can always keep your rinds.
No, I've kept it, but I've never put it in whole.
Oh, no, it's good. You pick it out at the end, or you can eat it. Just chew it.
Am I meant to be stirring this? Because I thought you had to keep stirring risotto slowly for
let's
ages.
not look at that yet, Amelia.
Oh,
We're going to come to that in a minute. Right, so let's sweat this off for about 10 minutes, ideally. In with the rice, stir that around. When it's really crying out for liquid, then we're going to add some wine, and then the stock. Right, Tommy, you
Yeah, I want it turkey.
You're on that?
Leg or breast, man?
Leg.
Oh, leg.
Totally.
Yeah.
Every time.
Tommy, are you open on New Year's Eve? Are you working?
I suppose I ought to, really.
Good to see how you feel.
No, I actually really enjoy all the festive times in the restaurants. We always used to open Christmas Day, but just recently, last 2 years, we've closed over Christmas.
Have you?
But it's... Working Christmas does sound rubbish, but actually everyone's in such a good mood.
Yeah. I think I'd
work New
love
Year.
it.
Yeah, it's kind of one of them, you're all in it together, so you kind of enjoy it, it's a nice vibe.
That's
Right.
Do you open lunch and supper, or do you just do...
On New Year, yeah.
All
right.
Yeah. But then we close New Year's Day.
Okay.
That is the
I like being
ultimate
busy.
graveyard shift. Nobody wants to work New Year's Day.
New Year's Day?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've worked New Year's Day before. It's terrible.
What, terrible because you're exhausted, or terrible because...
Well, generally, if you've worked the night before, you're a little bit worse for wear.
Oh, definitely.
Because basically you have to cram your New Year between sort of, you know, midnight and breakfast, 2 in the morning. And then you have to come in and cook for an hour. New Year's not a good one.
But everybody's worse for wear as well. All the guests are worse for wear. It's just a worse for wear kind of day, isn't it?
It's a nice day to go out for lunch for. OK, so look, so the wine goes in, let that completely evaporate, so you're just left with a flavour rather than that sort of that alcohol. And then very, very slowly, as I'm sure you know, just add a ladle at a time. Keep stirring for about sort of 20-odd minutes. Tommy, could you crisp that up for me as well, please? That's in that pan.
I feel like I'm not being very helpful. Will you shout if you want?
I will, don't worry. Don't
I mean,
worry.
Too many cooks and all that.
Yeah, exactly.
There's an awful lot.
So what time do you have your first glass of fizz on New Year's Day?
New Year's Day, well, I think it's a hair of the dog situation, so I tend to go quite early. Followed by a bracing walk, I have to say. There's always a bracing walk,
Does it depend when you had your last glass of champagne on New Year's Eve?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, whether you just keep going.
Yeah. This turkey skin's in the bacon fat, that's a good thing.
Play that nice and... thank you very much. Right, and then if you could throw that garlic in there, Tommy.
Into that one?
It's gonna start.
That one?
No, that's gonna go a little bit finer, Chris.
Oh, all right.
Sorry.
I know. I thought I'd done a good
job.
Oh, no.
Very demanding.
We don't use knives very often making chocolate, you see.
Right, remember salt. OK, so the risotto's to do there. So I'm going to throw the...
What is it about risotto that you particularly like?
I love pasta, but I think I prefer risotto.
It's so comforting.
Exactly that, yeah. It'd be a good New Year's Day dish, actually.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah.
Early, late afternoon on New Year's Day.
Yeah.
Nice bowl of risotto.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Right, so Tommy, is that nearly there?
Yeah.
So the one, can you throw the garlic in? Some of these fennel seeds.
Absolutely.
Just a little.
Oh, all the garlic. Yeah.
All that garlic. Right, I'm going to finish this risotto with some mascarpone, just to make it really rich. Some butter.
Smells amazing.
Decent amount of parmesan. And a little bit of stock.
And if you weren't going to use turkey, what other meat would you use? What's a good...
You could, I mean, if you had a goose, you could use anything.
Goose risotto?
Goose risotto, yeah, they're quite fatty.
Do you ever have hams? Hey? Like a Christmas ham.
Yeah.
That'd be quite nice for a risotto.
I mean, it's one of those things, isn't it? It's a bit of a vehicle, you could use anything, yeah. If you could, like, just break all that up and mix it with...
Emilia, do you have any New Year's resolutions?
A little bit of... Just go
I do, actually. I love coffee so much, and I try... I love it, but I also want to give it up and just try a bit of life without it.
Yeah.
So each year, I give it a go. So I'll probably try that.
Yeah. How long have you lasted so far without it?
2 days.
Right.
And it was so painful.
Yeah.
I got such a bad headache and felt just really fuzzy.
Yeah.
So I took it up again.
Wow. Has anybody else got any New Year's resolutions?
I never have
not to make them. Yeah. Gave up, giving up.
Don't last.
I like doing courses, so I think I might take up another course.
Yeah. What, practical or more academic?
Oh, well, I've been doing cookery classes.
Oh, have you?
And I've loved that.
Is that right?
Great.
But doing it with the family. So that, because I didn't do cooking when I was little.
Right.
And so I want
thank you, darling.
my little girl to enjoy it from early.
That's nice.
And yeah, so that's been fun. Thank you so much.
Got that? Yeah.
What have you been learning?
Things that she can do at home too, like chicken schnitzel.
Yeah.
And we did lots of roast vegetables the other day, and then sort of put them all together so we could use it as a sauce with meatballs that we made.
Oh, lovely.
And we did homemade fresh pesto, which was delicious. And we did a breakfast one as well, so that she could do banana pancakes and homemade granola.
Oh, brilliant.
And it's so different, you know, than like trying to get kids to eat before school. Like, what are you going to have for breakfast? They're sort of bored. But as soon as they're making it themselves, they love it.
Yeah, I think granola is one of the things as well. It seems so simple, but when it's homemade, it's so much better.
Yeah.
Really tasty.
And then you know that they're getting something good before they go off to school.
Right. There's a fork.
That was so quick and amazing. Thank you.
Taste that. Helen, what have we got here?
So, if we've probably done quite a few rich reds over Christmas, so I've gone for something just a bit lighter. It's a medium-bodied red, really, made from the Gamay grape. It's Fleury, so one of the smart villages in the Beaujolais region. And this one with risotto, it's just got such lovely, juicy red fruits in there that, again, will pick up all the lovely flavours in the risotto without sitting on it too heavily. And this one, £5.99 from Aldi.
That's
so
bargain,
for a cru Beaujolais, that is an amazing price.
Very well with the
You like
skin.
it? Yeah.
That's why we pulled that over.
It's nice.
Just to...
It's like a nice bar snack, that, isn't it?
This
All right?
is heaven.
Good.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
good.
Try that.
Delicious.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Try that.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Happy New Year. And tomorrow night, everyone needs to watch the trial of Christine Keeler.
Yep.
Yep. BBC One.
We'll watch.
9
Look forward to
PM.
it. Look forward to it. And that's all from us today on Saturday Kitchen. Thanks to our studio guests, Tommy, Paul, Helen, and of course, Emilia Fox. All the recipes from the studio are on the website bbc.co.uk/Saturday Kitchen. Now we've got some more fantastic best bites for you tomorrow on BBC Two, and next week I'm here with Sky Gingell, Bryn Williams, and James May. Have a fantastic New Year's Eve. Bye for now.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.